Aloha mai kākou. A Komamaita Curtain Call, a program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. Reset and Reshape by Taiji Terasaki is the latest exhibit at the Schaefer International Gallery of the Maui Arts and Cultural Center. According to Mr. Terasaki's biography, provided by the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, he is a Honolulu-based artist who was born in Los Angeles, attended UC Irvine, Cal State Long Beach, and Hunter College in New York. He has spent years exploring avant-garde innovations in his craft, working in photography, sculpture, immersive and large-scale installations, and pioneering mediums like mist projections. His subjects include cultural and environmental conservation, preservation, and restoration. He has shown in Hawaii, throughout the continental U.S., and internationally, most notably in Curitiba Biennial in Brazil in 2017. His exhibit is contemporary in every way possible. It looks at the pandemic through the lens of the heroes and heroines who have done so much to help us get through this once-in-a-lifetime, we hope, event. It celebrates the frontline workers who succumbed to the ravages of this pandemic in a moving tribute. It delves into our climate crisis while suggesting ways to transform ourselves from victims to survivors. And finally, it utilizes technology to bring augmented reality to enhance both the aesthetic experience and to provide effective ways to share important information with the viewers. This show has much to give the viewer, but be prepared to invest the time necessary to benefit from what Mr. Terasaki is giving you. This is not a run-in and run-out show. You need, at the very least, an hour to do it justice. When one enters the gallery, go to the left, where your temperature will be taken, and you will have the option of downloading the exhibit app or borrowing one of the gallery's iPads. There is a specific sequence to this exhibit, and it is best to just walk around and see the exhibit without diving in. Work in a clockwise manner and get a feel for what there is. Then return and begin the augmented reality Mr. Terasaki has created for you. On the floor, in front of most of the exhibits, you will find a contact. When you aim your device at these contacts, the augmented reality created by Mr. Terasaki is awoken and performs a virtual image only seen on the device. Transcendience, 100 Days of COVID-19, is Mr. Terasaki's initial response to the pandemic. He committed to making a portrait a day for 100 days. These portraits are hand-woven giclée prints on birchwood panels of pandemic movers and shakers. Then the George Floyd murder happened, about halfway through Mr. Terasaki's quest, and everything changed. The viewer can see the moment when Mr. Floyd was homicidally taken from us, and the tone and tenor of the exhibit changes to one of attempting to come to terms with that ghastly event, where for the first time, police officers spoke out against the murderer's behavior. Next to it is Transcendience Memorial to Healthcare Workers. Using the traditional way to honor Japanese people who have passed on, Mr. Terasaki has chosen to present kozo paper scrolls of giclées utilizing his pioneering mist projections as the images for this wide variety of victims, from Dr. Adeline Marie Fagan, a 28-year-old OBGYN resident, to 74-year-old radiologist David Wolin. Before each scroll is a symbol. When one views it through their electronic device, either personal phone or gallery iPad, the story of that person is shared. Here are a few moments from Claire Fuqua's story, a 28-year-old receptionist from the Pineville Children's Clinic in Pineville, Louisiana. Claire was looking forward to her wedding in anticipation of a proposal. A foster child who had been in 6 different situations, she was finally adopted and was genuinely happy. Her smile was described as infectious. She was hospitalized on March 22, 2020, and died on April 8th. This piece was the most emotionally engaging work in the show. Although the next work, Urn times Infinity, is also highly emotional, it is a more generally anonymous, overwhelming feeling at the number of urns the augmented reality creates, rather than a specific personal experience achieved by the healthcare tribute. When you stand in front of Urn times Infinity, the elegance of the work is unmistakable. It is a beautiful composition. Then point at the connection on the floor and begin to understand what the title means. It is at once foreboding and overwhelming. If you stand in front of the disrupt the behavior, which is found behind earn times infinity, point your device to the RR on the floor. You will be greeted to the future, we hope. Mr. Terasaki postulates in Food Security Reshape what the key to the future might be. He has created 8 origami archival inkjet prints of impressions of some of Hawaii's most innovative sustainable food producers and coupled that with augmented reality, where the viewer has an opportunity to receive information from pioneer Maui innovators such as Mahi Pono, Kahanu Aina Green, and Hawaii Taro Farm, among others, from Oahu. Even if one did not have all the technological enhancements and the identifications on the works, the style of these sculptures brings an optimistic smile. They are at once whimsical and beautiful. Then there are these QR code hand-woven paper portrait weavings that when activated become video images of the subject telling stories ranging from race and class to food sustainability, art, scientific innovations, and climate change. In the middle of the floor is a black cabinet with 4 of Mr. Terasaki's signature mist projections. The day I went, there were only 2 of the 4 working. When one passes one's hand through the mist, the image miraculously changes. I intend to return to see the 2 that were not in operation when I visited last week. The final work is a film projection called Social Equal Sign Crossed Out Doesn't Equal Distancing that invites the viewer's shadow to co-star in the film. The images projected on the mist include embracing, hope, and joy, as well as isolation. Quote, as we attempt to come out of pandemic despondency, these are the positive interactions we look forward to once again, unquote. The complexity of this exhibit cannot be overstated. Once again, Nida Bangerter, gallery director, and her right hand, Jonathan Y. Clark, have brought Maui an exciting, innovative, cutting-edge exhibit which will lead the viewer on an emotional and intellectual odyssey, both through the simple beauty of the presentations coupled with the profound emotional experience the viewer will have. Adds up to 2021's top aesthetic experience so far, hands down. Reset Reshape by Taiji Terasaki is open Wednesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. until December 18th. Face masks are required for entry until further notice. Gallery capacity will be limited to 10 at a time. Free admission. For groups of 5 or more, contact Jonathan Clark at jonathan@mauiarts.org to reserve a time. It's great that this exhibit has such a long run. I feel the need to return several more times to take in all that it has to offer. Bravissima! Well, that's Curtain Call for this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Paul James Brown. Ahui ho!